So what happened with Frankie Cutlass and Terror Squad?
I don't really know. I could tell you things from the background. I knew that they was having a problem. Joe didn't like them. But I came in the Terror Squad when they was doing, they cool with each other. They did Boricos on the set. It was Frankie beats. Frankie Cutlass's beat, I think, that he did. He was the nigga who produced that beat. So that was a big moment right there for like Latin hip hop that they did. Doo-wop was on it. So it was like a Latin movement type shit. So that was dope. I know him from that. Being a DJ, I heard that, I knew he was fucking with Joe for a little bit because of that.
And you met him. You met him a couple of times during that time?
I met him.
And he was cool during that time?
Yeah, it was something. That's it. It was around the circle said what's up to him, and he said what's up back. But then I heard that I seen the behind the scene the breakup. You know what I'm saying? Where they some niggas came and from the Terror Squad and said they caught that nigga somewhere, had him begging for his life and shit like that, and beat him up. I seen the after effects of it. I wasn't there, but
that was Macho, right? Macho and Flex.
Macho, Flex, other niggas too. The Terror Squad. You know what I'm saying? They put the pressure on. I heard it and beat him up, and that's it. And that's where the Land King meeting came up later. You know what I'm saying? Because
right, because when I interviewed Kano, he said that Frankie was a king, and King Tone told him to stay away from Joe.
Right, I didn't know the inner workings of what that was doing, but I seen it. I seen it on here. I seen Kano say it.
Right, because the Kings had beef with Joe.
Right. See, I don't know. I get lost in there because they did, but I think they had beef with him because of the Frankie situation. Because I think Terror Squad niggas beat up Frankie.
No, he said that what happened was that the Kings had beef with Joe's team or whatever like that before the Frankie Cutlass thing happened. And that's why Tone told Frankie to stay away from Joe, but because they're in the music industry, it was kind of hard, and he had already worked with Joe. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so then when he didn't do that, that's when the Puerto Rican Day Parade happened, and
he got caught up in the middle.
Tone allegedly slapped the shit out of Frankie Cutlass and stripped him of his beads.
Man, roll the clip.
He was told to stay away from Fat Joe.
Why was he told to stay away from Fat Joe?
Because at the time there was street beef with Joe. Joe was part of a crew called Power Rule Unity or something like that. That was from like the Forest area, and they was beefing with the bros from the South Side. And the shit got kind of serious, bro. Like it got serious. People from both sides got indicted and did bids, and it got a little bit ugly. You know what I'm saying? So he was told to stay away from him. Something happened at a parade. He didn't. That plus there was other allegations that I'm not gonna really get into. Why he lost his membership in the nation.
So you said something happened at the parade?
Well, he was confronted about a rumor, certain things that was going on, and his membership was terminated.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, that's what happened, and then he went to the priesthood. You know what I'm saying? Like he went to the church, and so usually when that happens, with no story behind it, you never expressed yourself, you never said nothing. I held him like, he's one of Joe's victims. Because like I said before, it was a lot of, Joe was doing like the blackball shit to people behind the scene. Like, King's son, and like I always said, other people, Frankie Cutlass, you know what I'm saying, that I know he robbed them from their dreams. Whether he bullied them out of there, whether they were scared of him, whatever, but you know what I'm saying? Or he played the politic game like he do with me. He did that to other people before me. He just they haven't spoke up. So I always said Frankie Cutlass because I had love for that brother. I believe he was part of hip hop and he needed more. I wonder what when I see him.
He had a lot of classics, bro. Like
when
Puerto
I see him
Rico,
again, but before that, he was in like Boricuas on the set and all that, and then he
Yeah.
stopped. Like he dropped off the plate, face to the fucking map.
Right.
He had
And
a
I
good,
think that happened kind of after the Joe shit. Like he disappeared for a very long time.
Right afterwards. That's why I knew that this nigga did this to other people before. He think he could do that to me. He could do that shit to me. And beat me up like that, motherfucker, whatever. You know, even though we went through our own shit. But yeah, like Frankie wasn't from the Terror Squad. He was a extension of, you know what I'm saying, just being Boricua, and they was doing hip hop. So it wasn't that personal with us.
Because, you know,
as far as like being in the circle.
I was trying to interview Frankie before to talk more about like the freestyle music, right? Because I wanted to cover that genre. And I didn't even know he had beef with Joe or anything. So then when I spoke to Frankie on the phone, he was like, yo, you don't want to cover my situation with Joe? And I was like, I didn't know you.
That's when we was getting hot.
No,
right?
I was like, I didn't know that you had a situation with Joe to begin with.
He probably heard
you know how people always
yeah.
think that I just want to interview them because I'm trying to get them to talk shit about Joe, but it's not even true because I didn't even know he had a situation with Joe. I was just trying to talk about his career, right? But he was.
But I told you, right? I told you that.
You told me that happened, but I wasn't even thinking about bringing it up to him really, like in the interview, you know. But when I talked to him,
well, that would have been a good question because I don't know like the specifics, but I know of it. But I just don't know the specifics. It would have been dope if we would have cleared that up. That's why I was telling you, like last time I heard, nigga, he got beat up. Because if it was fake, like they didn't beat him up, then he could say that.
But when I talked to him on the phone, he said, oh, you know, like we got, you know, you don't want to talk about this controversial stuff. Like you don't want to cover why I was gone from the industry for so long and everything. I'm like, if you want to talk about it, we could talk about it, you know, because I'm used to a lot of times people are afraid to, they're not like you, Q, like you'll say anything. Like you'll just say what's real, what's truth.
I'll say anything that's true.
But I'm saying that like a lot of people, they're afraid to say the truth. Right. So what I think happened with him is that once he said he wanted to interview and talk about those things, he thought about it twice and was like, maybe I shouldn't say this because, you know.
Yeah, he wanted to jump out just for the publicity, I think. You know what I'm saying? We was getting hot on Joe and I was telling my story and I added him. I did say, you know, his name on it. So I'm putting a fucking podium for them niggas to come out and say their story.
Well, I think that
bottom line, because I think
that he didn't know my platform.
He's part of the Surviving Joe.
He didn't know my platform, and then he realized he saw that there was a lot of content about Joe. I think that he saw that and thought maybe I was just trying to get him to talk bad about Joe, but that wasn't even in the case. He wanted to tell his side about the situation with Joe, right? And then when I interviewed Kano. And I tagged Frankie Cutlass in that post and he watched it. He said that a lot of that is true. He said that there's some details that are wrong. And he said, maybe one day I'll tell my side of it. And I said, bro, I'm waiting to do the interview with you still. You were the one that.
Yeah, but I lost all respect.
But and then he left me on scene after that again. So that's what happened with the situation with him. But then I know when I talked to him on the phone and I brought you up, I think that kind of turned him off too, because I said, oh, you know, my man Cuban said, you know, you always been a good brother and everything. I was showing him love from what you told me, you know, and then he was oh, Cuban. And like, he kind of was like, nah, there was a situation with like my ex-wife said that like,
said
that Cuban
ex-wife said that shit to get you mad, nigga.
Said that Cuban came up to her and
that's the problem with motherfuckers. Like, yo, that's crazy. I would never do that. Like, never knew. Never.
Wait. Let me say what she said. She said to him allegedly that you told her, I don't know what you ever saw in that dude.
It's not even my character. I would never in my life would say that. Never would say that about no, especially a nigga that I don't have a problem with. Not even a nigga that I don't even have if he has a problem with me. I would never say things like that or use a girl against him. Fuck out of here. I'd rather punch you dead in your mouth. Like, I'll go to you for that. I will not do the sneaky shit. Oh, let me get his wife, fuck his wife. I will not do that. My mind never been on that. So for him to say that, is that he believed this girl. Maybe he had an argument, he had beef with his girl, and his girl said that to get him mad because, you know, she probably felt a way about me. You know how girls be fatting out sometimes and be like, yo, I love Cuban, whatever. That love that they got for me. You know, they got husbands or boyfriends, and you know, they say that in front of boyfriends, motherfuckers gonna feel a certain way. Like, yo, you better stay away from me. Don't talk like, you know, like they only hit their girl. So probably them niggas had an argument or they broke up, and then she said that shit just to spite him. I don't know her. To this day, I don't know who the fuck is his wife or his baby mother. I don't know. I don't know that, and I know I never did that. So at the end of the day, it's like, damn, nigga, I'm over here giving you love when I bring up your name with Joe shit because you were suppressed by Joe. I want you to tell your story, so I'm plugging you in so you can tell your story like I'm telling the story. You know what I'm saying? So you can let these motherfucking people know how disgusting this fat nigga is. And your situation, I ain't putting words in your mouth. You tell it how it happened to you, but I know that you didn't come out after that situation with Joe. So what was it? Blackballing? You scared of him? What was it? So that was his platform to come and say that and explain that. Because I wanted to know also why he left. You know what I'm saying? Because I know he had a situation with Terror Squad. So that's all I was doing. So for him to say that and bring that up to you, it's like, that's some bitch ass shit to do, man. Because he could have called me. He could have asked me. I would have told him.
But you saw him multiple times.
And it's always
before.
love. And it was love. Always show love. I seen him with his fucking priest fucking thing on, his, the suit on. I seen him before that when he was regular. And it's always been a good report. But once he's saying that, that's that bitch ass shit niggas be doing behind the scenes, talking that bullshit, that girl shit behind that, throwing hate on my name. And throwing.
But your thing was more like, obviously, this probably happened.
I try to fuck his girl, try to make a move on his girl, or his wife, whatever. That's a bitch ass shit to say when it didn't happen. If it would have happened, I would have told you, yep, that bitch throw my dick. I never did that. You know
what I'm saying though is that probably happened before you saw him some of the time, so he could have pulled you aside and say, "Yo, I heard this. Is it true?" And talk to you like a man.
If he was a real one, picture me. I'm over here bringing his name up in positive ways, in his attributes, and the importance of what Boricos for the set was, in history. So I'll bring him up in good terms. For that nigga to say that behind my back on some shit like that, when you could have told me, yo, Q, did you have a situation with this girl, whatever? Maybe remind me of something. Maybe I didn't. There's no way in the world that I knew any girl that came around my circle that said that it was Frankie Cutlass' fucking wife or girl. Never. That never happened. So if a girl blew me back in the days and we fucked, whatever, and then it was this girl, whatever, his wife, I don't know. I don't know that much. But if you show me a picture, I wouldn't have no hesitate to say, oh, shit, she did get caught up in the trends. Oh, yeah, we did do it. I have no problem saying that. You know what I'm saying? And I held him in high regards to that point. He's a fellow hip hop, artist that I could tell him. But he never did that. He's always like promoting bitch ass shit that niggas been doing from like the Terror Squad niggas do that. With me and Liza, me and Joe's wife. Like they do that shit just I don't know, they on my dick or something. Like you can't fucking just fathom a nigga being this a real nigga. It's easy to believe that, I'll do some foul shit. So, I don't respect him for that. He could have definitely approached that in a better situation. Talk to me man to man. You know what I'm saying?
My thing with Frankie is that like I showed him a lot of respect and love, and I wasn't trying to get him to say anything bad. If whatever he wanted to say, his truth, that's what I wanted him to say, right?
That's what we all wanted him to say.
Right. But I don't appreciate when people say they're going to do an interview, they don't show up for the interview, and then they play around and try to be like, oh, I'm too busy. Like they going to have to wait. And it's like, but bro, you the one that said hit you up at this time and then we can set up a time, do this. And I just like, if you don't want to do it, just be straight up, bro. Like I respect honesty. Just be like, you know what? I changed my mind. I don't really want to do it. Cool. Yeah. That's it, but keep it real. Don't do the whole like, oh, I don't know, like all that shit like that. Like I don't appreciate that because everybody's time, you got to respect everybody's time, bro. That's it at the end of the day.
And their story, you got to respect their story too. So I wanted to hear that story of his side. Because like I said, I was like a third person on that when I seen the motherfuckers, in the backfield laughing and saying, yo, we caught that nigga. I saw that. You know what I'm saying? And they won't lie at the time. Niggas, I know. So they caught him. I believe that. It's just that he never said why or why this nigga,
Because he told me on the phone that never happened. He said that he didn't get beat up by TS.
Or whatever. It was just a conversation with them. That's what they was kicking. And I could have been on like, fuck Frankie Cutlass. Like, he's a punk. He got beat up. I could have been on that. And I never was. I felt like he was a victim. Like, I'm a victim when it comes to, this game of putting out albums and shit and this nigga blocking. So I'm thinking he got caught up in that situation where this nigga Joe hating on the nigga. King's son the same way. They started hating on that side and they spilled over to the hip hop side. Now we don't hear about these brothers no more. That's what I was doing it for. But yeah, you kind of, you know, when you tell me shit like that, like, yo, Cuban did something with my ex girl. What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? See, you know what I'm saying? And especially if it's not true. If it's not true and you going by rumors, you just a bitch ass nigga like the rest of these niggas that start up the rumors. You playing the same kind of game when I'm not playing that game with you. I could have been like, yeah, ran with that shit and played you out on some more like, man, fuck it, this nigga's a pussy, this nigga's that. I never did that. I took it like, yo, that man deserves a podium where he could express his story. I definitely was interested in knowing what happened behind the scenes because the way after my situation with Joe, I see how grimy this nigga do behind the scenes. So I wanted him to, come and explain his story so people could know. I wanted to know.
I wanted to help tell his story because I felt like I could help shed light on it in a good way. You know what I'm saying? And present it the right way. And that's what I really wanted to do. And I don't know what happened, but you know what I mean? Like, that's on him, bro. It's all good. But, we're moving on.
Move on.